Wouldn't it be great if you knew you could attract exhibitions, opportunities, and even press for your art? Well, in this video, I want to share how I use manifestation to grow my art career effortlessly in a fun and stress-free way, and hopefully give you some tips and insights to do the same. So I want to share a little bit of a backstory, and I've definitely been on a long journey when it comes to my mindset and learning about my, subconscious brain and manifesting and spirituality and energy and all those beautiful things. So I just want to give a disclaimer that this has been my soul's work for quite a few years. But this past week, I decided I'm going to walk my dog, Calibri, and him and I went on a little stroll. Well, for those of you who have been following my journey, or maybe you follow me on Instagram, I pretty much took off a whole 2 months after my solo exhibition in Paris just to regroup, make some art for myself, and just reconnect and take a break from making work for other people, which is really important to me personally. So on this walk with my dog, I said to myself, wouldn't it be great to have an exhibition next? I think I'm ready now. I think I feel rested. And I kid you not, 2 hours later, one of my friends and former clients reached out and said, hey, there's an opening for a show I'm curating in New York. Would you like to be a part of it? And of course I said, hell yes. And later that day, I also confirmed a solo exhibition in Chicago. So the moral of the story is not to show off, but to show you how powerful our thoughts are. As you know, what we focus on expands, so why not focus on beautiful things, opportunities, things that you want, your desires, your goals, and your dreams? Now, you might be wondering, well, what about when I doubt? What about when those negative thoughts come in and I can't seem to move past them? And I want to just encourage you and let you know that we all have them. In fact, even though all these amazing things are happening in my life, sometimes I still experience fear, doubt, insecurity, and self-sabotage because I'm a human being. But the good news is that those things are just emotions. That doesn't mean that if you have a negative thought or you have a bad day, that you're going to manifest those things into your life. Instead, honoring those things, recognizing that they were once there to protect you or to teach you something, and maybe in this moment, they are no longer relevant. So experiment with small things, maybe start with something really, really small, like wouldn't it be great if another account featured my artwork? And just allowing yourself to be in that possibility and trusting that it will happen. Another thing you can do is if you have a hard time with manifesting money or opportunities, starting with something small, like maybe thinking of a friend and recognizing that you can reach out to them and make it happen. Because the really beautiful thing about humans is that we communicate on more levels than just verbal. We have body language, we have energy. And have you ever had an experience where maybe you thought of a friend and then they texted you? Well, I don't think that's an accident. I think that on a deeper level, and this is just my personal opinion and from my experiences, that we are connected to each other and we transmit information and energy in a variety of ways that's beyond just verbal or texting or emailing someone. So if you're an artist, or it doesn't matter, or a small business owner, or just something that you really want in your life, I am a strong advocate in inspiring you, inviting you to, one, the biggest tip is to journal on what you want and get really clear on it. And two, unapologetically just dreaming about it and imagining yourself doing it, visualizing it, and feeling the joy that would come from having that experience. And that's exactly what I did that morning when I walked my dog and I felt ready to have a show. I felt aligned, I could get behind it. I was fully present in that possibility that, yes, I am now willing and excited to have an exhibition. So my friend, what are you willing and excited for? Now, the other thing I want to share with you is this is super, super powerful because one, the world will reflect back to us what we think that we are. So if we create a self-concept around being an artist that's constantly getting invited to shows or being featured, that's going to be mirrored back to us. And I know this has been super true in my life before I even realized it. So back in 2017, I was on a mission to get myself out there. I was applying to every single blog and every single gallery, and I was just so determined to become a successful artist, and I was able and willing and committed to doing whatever I possibly could. Now, around this time, my manifestation, I was also really feeling good about it. It wasn't like a desperate or scared or pushy energy. I was just like, yes, this is my time. I really think this is good work, and I'm going to start submitting it everywhere. So one of those people that featured my work first, shout out to the Jealous Curator, she kind of created a little momentum for me, because when she featured my work, a few other blogs and influencers started featuring it. And for a few months, I just had people constantly featuring my work, whether it was on their Instagram or in a blog. And you don't need to wait for an influencer or for someone with a big account to feature you. You can start practicing this now. And it wasn't because someone featured my work that I was getting more and more opportunities. It's because after having those experiences, my brain was convinced that I am the type of person that constantly gets features and posts and whatever, blog features. And to this day, this belief is so ingrained in me, even though it was not always true for me. I did not always believe this. So you can actually train yourself to look for the evidence that you are that type of person that gets opportunities. You are the type of person that gets paid abundantly for your work. And I encourage you to not judge how it happens. So a lot of times we will be hard on ourselves and say, oh yeah, I got into the show, but that's because I know this person, or that's because I know my parents, or that's because I knew my art teacher. Don't disqualify your manifestation as it's happening. Be grateful, and eventually you're going to attract strangers and people who you don't even know. And that's going to be the really beautiful thing. But you have to acknowledge that it's already happening, even though it might be someone that you know, and not to judge it or dismiss it, because it's still part of the process. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how it started for me. And you can experiment with this in any area of your life. It's not limited to art. But for example, I remember back, I think it was around 2018, 2017, I was like, I haven't won an award in a while. It would be really fun to win an award. So I noticed, because our subconscious brain looks through filters, because we get bombarded with so much information all the time, our brains would literally not be able to handle it, and they would just, they would shut down. So we use filters in our brain to process all the information that's coming at us. And when we decide on a filter of, I'm an award-winning artist, we might have an opportunity that we notice through the filter, an award that comes our way. So I went to our local art store around this time, and they said that one of my favorite paint brands, Charvin, was having a contest for painters using their colors. And my brain, because I said, I haven't won an award in a while, it would be so nice to win an award, it said, oh cool, here's an award, let's win it. And I applied and I got second place, and I ended up getting like a huge gift card to the art store. So I wanted to share that with you, because it's so powerful to just allow. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. You don't need to do, any kind of dance or ritual, or, I love burning, Palo Santo and sage and meditating and all. Like, that's personally part of my spiritual practice, and journaling and talking with God. But it's way simpler than that. You can literally just start focusing your thoughts and energy on what you want, and it has to show up if you assume that it's going to happen. One of the most beautiful laws that my coach Olga, and I'm going to have her on my podcast soon, Olga, she introduced me to the law of assumption. This was coined by Neville Goddard, who studied manifestation, and he basically interpreted the Bible through the lens of manifestation, which if you're interested in, I highly suggest it. But the law of assumption is that we assume that what we want is what we are, and the outcome that we want is already happening. So you can start experimenting with little things if you have a hard time believing it for bigger things. Say, for example, your audience is growing on Instagram by 100 people a week, and you can just start experimenting with those smaller things, and eventually you'll be able to do it with bigger things as well. I have applied this principle to getting grants, to getting paid, to selling artwork. I'll be honest, sometimes, if it's been a few weeks or even a few months and I haven't sold anything, sometimes I will just sit there and say, it would be really nice to sell a painting. And I kid you not, within a week or so, usually someone ends up buying one of my paintings. And this is really important for me to share with you, because a lot of times when we get in a fearful state or when our ego comes up to play, and it's usually after something really amazing happens for me personally, and I get really freaked out. And this is actually a great example of today, because I had a huge month and I got paid out for like one of the biggest months in my business. And immediately my body was like, oh no, it's not safe to get paid this much. Let's shrink, let's hide. We don't want to lose it. But I'm healing through that by sitting with that emotion, acknowledging it for what it is, just fear. It's that like little child in me that's afraid. And then moving on to be like, no, we're writing a new story now. And so sometimes when we get stuck on this pattern of, oh, I'm not selling any art. Oh my gosh, no one's following my Instagram. I keep getting rejection letters. You are on that frequency of getting rejection letters, getting no's, getting not selling. So how can you shift from that frequency of not selling and not getting what you want to getting what you want? Well, there's a few tools you can use. One is, of course, controlling your thoughts is difficult when you're in that state. You can feel like you're spiraling. So controlling your thoughts might come a little bit later. So I do like to read my affirmations, my mantras, to redirect the pattern of my thoughts. Regulating your nervous system to feel really, really good. So that could mean breath work. And I talk about this in all my videos because it helped me so much. I even had to do it today. So I practice what I preach. So just taking a few beautiful deep breaths. It could mean going for a walk, shaking, dancing, singing. Sometimes just singing in the car can be super therapeutic to get your energy up and your mood up. It could be calling a friend. It could be talking with someone. Sometimes I'll even just take my sketchbook and I'll just dump a bunch of like colors on it and just get the emotions out through things like art therapy. It could be just sitting still and facing the fear, facing the negativity, and just recognizing that that's not you. Those are your thoughts, but they're not you. You may think that thought, you may feel that emotion, but that's not who you are. And then from when you start to feel a little better, possibly introducing those mantras into your life, saying like, oh, I haven't sold art in a while, or I haven't got accepted to a show in a while. Not bypassing that feeling, not ignoring it, but just being like, you know what? I'm willing to believe that things are changing for me. I'm willing to believe that there are opportunities available for me. I'm willing to believe that something amazing is going to happen. And the more you do it, the better you feel. Like, I'm already feeling so good talking about it now, right? So shifting into that frequency. And it helps sometimes if you're really feeling stuck, it helps to go back to a specific time where you might have experienced something beautiful. So maybe it was a show you received, or that feeling of selling your first artwork, reminding yourself that because it happened before, it will happen again. And even you're going to have even better experiences as you grow, as you overcome your personal limitations, as you heal, and as you're open to bigger and better opportunities. So sometimes reminding yourself, like, you've created this life so far, everything is still possible for you, and way better things await. So don't get stuck on last month or last year thinking that nothing good will ever happen again, but instead open yourself up to something better, right? Thank you so much for being here. I hope this was helpful for you. I know I need to hear this sometimes when I get in my little patterns or negative thinking, but just remember, our thoughts create our reality. I know we all see that all the time, but it's so, so true. So make your thoughts beautiful. Make your thoughts inspiring. Use them as a canvas. Use your brain as your biggest masterpiece, and your art career is going to take off. Your business is going to take off. Your personal life is going to take off. You're going to be more radiant, more beautiful. You're going to feel so, so amazing. So continue to see yourself as the person who already has all your dreams and desires, and it's going to happen. I love you so much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.